As we all know, we have critical thinking, we have collaboration, we have digital literacy, and so forth. The other thing I would wish to say is that we are also having teacher engagement and training initiatives. Like we have been having for the last for the longest time I can remember. I remember we have been doing teacher trainings in different programs. One, we have been doing teacher training on live streaming of lessons, teacher training on lab exchange, which is virtual simulation. We have been doing teacher training on Microsoft Teams and Copilot in an attempt to try to bring in technology in the classroom. And so if you look at teacher engagement and the training initiative, it is working for us. And in terms of integration of ICT, it is also working somehow. It is working for us, although one thing we are getting to, we are actually, the sad reality is that most of the teachers, they still are not very much conversant with the technology tools. Like most of the schools have been visiting, we were visiting because last month I had the opportunity of going to Turkana and traversing through the county and looking at implementation of some of the digital tools. You realize that there is a big challenge. So those are a few things which are working. The integration of ICT is partly working for us. The teacher training is also working for us. The curriculum relevance, the curriculum is that the CBE is focusing on is, it is actually in line with the Vision 2030. And when we look at the approach, it is learner-centered, a shift from the content-based kind of learning to the competence-based kind of learning. And a few things are not working. I'm afraid to say that there are a few things which are not working with the competence-based education. And one of them is the issue of teacher shortage. I personally work in Kajiado, and most of the schools in Kajiado, I realize that with most of the schools in Kajiado, you realize that the teacher-student ratio is not that bad. But then I had the opportunity of going to Turkana, and that is the place where the sad reality of teacher shortage it has, because you find in a school in Turkana, like one of the schools I visited, that is Katilu. I believe it should be Katilu. You find there are around 5 teachers who are dealing with 1,800 students. So in a scenario where we are having 5 teachers dealing with 1,800 teachers, then that tells you that there is a very acute shortage of trained teachers to deal with the competence-based education. The other one is the infrastructure deficiencies. I realized when you look at some of the schools, especially in this Asar region, like in Kajiado, you go to places like Kitui, you go to places like Turkana. In Turkana, you are even finding some of the students seated on blocks. These blocks, and it was quite a challenge. I found that quite a challenge, that you find students are there, they are seated in blocks, and you look at this, most of the classrooms, they don't have the doors, they don't have windows, not even to mention of things like science labs and computer labs. I believe some of facilities like those ones just something like a pipe dream. The other one is also large classes. I realize in Turkana, you are finding there are so many classes are overcrowded. Students are very many, teachers are very few. And I also realized that there was also the problem of parental engagement, which is even there, even in these developed counties, if I might call them that. So you realize there are so many challenges. Much as we have the train has left the station, and the CBE is here with us. There are so many challenges, as I've cited: teacher shortages, infrastructure, also issues to do with large class sizes, parental engagement, and also I realized there was a very big challenge of assessment. So that is my input, Madam Grace.
Thank you so much. I can see in the chat we have Gona Kazungu, who has just listed teacher preparedness. I think that links up with what you've said, but he has noted that teachers, many teachers lack adequate training and resources to implement CBC effectively. And maybe this one, Mr. Felix, as we continue with this conversation, being involved, especially when it comes to ICT integration, and also you've mentioned you're a trainer when it comes to CBC. Separating the two, in as much as I know it's a very thin line, so separating might be a bit different. So this would fall under either teachers using learner-centered methodologies and teachers using ICT. Where are we losing the battle?
Yeah, thank you so much, Grace. Now, one area one thing which was coming out very, very clearly is that most of the schools, especially given that I had the opportunity of doing monitoring. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we had monitoring that was going on in various counties all over Kenya. Monitoring that was aimed at one, looking at how remote learning methodologies has been implemented and how live streaming of lessons, the workability of live streaming of lessons. And we were also looking at the live streaming of lessons was, and the teacher delivery methods, because we were also having a lesson observation tool that we were using. But one thing that came out very, very clearly, Grace, is that I realized much as teachers are faced with acute shortage of, much as many schools are faced with acute shortage of teachers, then the solution would have been integration of ICT in their classroom. Because one thing that was coming out very clearly, a difference that I observed between a county like Nakuru and a county like Turkana is that while in Turkana, there is no integration of ICT. In Nakuru, several schools were linked together, and you could find that one teacher who is in, for example, a school in Salisali, that particular school has connected with several other schools, and a teacher in integrated science. One teacher in integrated science is teaching several schools, but which was not there in Turkana. So one way we can be able to bridge this gap, which is there, is through integration of ICT in our classroom. Because if we were to adopt the live streaming of lessons, where you find, personally, I teach mathematics, and wherever I am, I'm able to teach around 10 schools. I can even teach 20 schools. So if we are able to adopt some of these technologies in our classrooms, I believe issues of teacher shortage would easily be sorted out. But now the other challenge that we are faced with this is that you still realize most of the schools, they are not having the right tools, like the laptops. They don't have the projectors to be able to carry out this. But that would be the savior.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Felix. As we are gearing up to really start and diving into the conversation for today, a very good evening to all educators, administrators, policy shapers, and tech pioneers who are here, and even community leaders in our various communities. I can see our chat room. I mean, from the participant group, we are quite a number. Today, I would say it's a very momentous day when we are looking at our continent's education. This is a series of conversations that we've had. We started by looking at the Southern African, and then we went to West Africa, and now we are winding up when we are looking at East Africa, where we are looking at by 2030, are we going to be able to have African schools that have a center when it comes to equity, innovation, and future readiness? So now, maybe just to put this into context before I hand it over to Tando, when it comes to data, when it comes to Africa, 65% of primary school leavers in Africa still lack foundational literacy and numeracy. Now, this is despite us having that milestone of how many years post-independence, the different efforts that have been made by different countries to ensure that no student is left behind and education is truly for all. But the staggering data shows that only 15% of African schools are meaningfully using digital tools in classroom. And I love the fact that Mr. Felix has just given us a very prime example of, yes, ICT integration. And I love you have put it in context with us where we have a shortage of teachers, but then there is a system where one teacher is able to uh, link up with different schools around the area and actually cover up that. And one thing that is particular when it comes to East African schools is that over 60% of rural schools lack the digital infrastructure, and the educators that are there are under-equipped to drive tech-enabled learning. But now, there's a silver lining when it comes to this. There is no shortage of innovation or identity. If you go to our different countries, whether it is South Sudan, Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, our schools are our guardians of culture, language, and heritage, that in one way or the other, we should be looking to integrate them. And as we are coming to this conversation, I'm really looking forward to diving in and seeing how can we ensure that our schools are in one way tech forward and we don't lose what make our education truly African. Now, we are going to be looking at different thematic areas where we are looking at data and research. We are also going to be looking at how education systems are really shaping up with emerging systems. And then how do we empower educators through technology? And how do we get performance models that are rooted in identity so that in one way or the other, our culture, our heritage can be preserved, and looking at homegrown edtech sustainability. Tando, I'd like to hand this over to you as we look to officially start the East African Conference when it comes to sustainable schools across Africa. Tando, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Grace. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the dialogue. I am really looking forward to it. This is one of those that we are using to prepare for the summit that is coming on September 4 to 6 September 2025, which is very, very exciting because all African countries, they are participating. So before we start, we do the summits, we are having dialogues per sections of Africa. We've had South African, and we also had Western, and today we're having Eastern countries, which I am so excited about it. So if you could kindly open your cameras and so that we can just say hello, then I can just get a quick screenshot of everyone. The kindly please. So thank you very much. So my name is Ntando. I'm from South Africa. I'm a teacher, online teacher in South Africa, one of the schools that are online. So as we are talking about the development and the expanding and looking at ways and how we can improve our education system. Also, South Africa is still, trying to sort out if we are going to be able to move to the online and involve online schooling in our curriculum. So I was just confirming with other speakers if they are present. So I would like everyone to introduce themselves. So I will start with the speakers present. We have Mr. or Dr. Juma from Tanzania, and we also have Mr. Felix, who I was listening to. Welcome, Mr. Felix. And we also have Mr. Felix is from Kenya, and Grace is very excited here. I just heard it from her voice. And also we have Dr. Christine. She's from Canada. I think she is based in Canada. And also we have Mr. Rivocat from Burundi, and also Mr. Tep from South Sudan, and also Bishop Dr. James from the DRC. I would like to call each of our speakers to just come and briefly introduce themselves and tell us where they're from and what they specialize in. So we're going to start with Mr. Felix, since you have already started and warmed the floor for us, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that opportunity. Good. I believe in Canada it should be several hours behind. So good. I don't know. It's good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let me just allow me to use those three. That greeting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Kamaku Felix. I'm joining this call from Kenya. I'm a teacher. I'm a high school teacher in Kajiado, in the Rift Valley, here in Kenya. I'm also a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert and Fellow. I'm the Microsoft Innovative Educator Lead for the Nairobi region. That is where I've been leading training of integration of ICT and other Microsoft programs like Microsoft Teams and Copilot. I'm also a TPAD and remote learning methodologies master trainer. I've also had the opportunity of training educators across the country on live streaming of lessons, lab exchange, and also Microsoft Teams and Copilot. So that is basically what I'm doing. I'm also an ambassador to various EdTech products and organizations.
Thank you very much. So, thank you very much. I also have the MEC went for 2024 and 2025 Microsoft teacher, but this year I couldn't do it, so I will stay in touch with you so that I can get the 25-26 one. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing this time with us. And then we're going to have Mr. Is it Chow Tab? Oh, Mr. Chow Tab just dropped. He did mention that he is having some technical issues with his Wi-Fi here on the group. So I'm sure he will join us soon. And then with others, I'll be checking in on them. And as soon as they come in to join, then I will ask them to come and introduce themselves. Miss Grace, if you could, please.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tando, and good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're tuning us from. My name is Grace Irungu, an educator based out of Kenya. And as Tando said, we are very excited to have this series of conversation as we gear up towards the school summit later on in September. And as we wait for the other speakers, it's unfortunate that Mr. Tapp is having some challenges with his network. So, Mr. Felix, I guess we'll have to put you on the spot for a while. And I would like, before we even dive in, there is a few comments that are there. And there is somebody, Mr. Enos, who has just asked, this sounds good. Can Mr. Felix explain a bit about how live streaming of lessons is done? Now, I'm guessing Enos is here in Kenya and is very interested in terms of live streaming. So, Mr. Felix, please, maybe you can help us break that down.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Grace, and thank you for the opportunity. When you talk about live streaming of education, live streaming of lessons in Kenya, it is a program that has been brought in by the KPIL. It is a program that has been sponsored by KPIL, and it is a program that has been implemented in the competence-based education. And normally, live streaming, it is a program that has been done by the Teacher Service Commission. A pilot program was done between 2022 and 2023 by a program, not a program but by a partner, SECIP. And when we talk about SECIP, we are talking about Secondary Education Quality Improvement Projects, whereby in this live streaming of lessons, there are two sets of schools. There is what we are calling the principal schools, and there are satellite schools. Now, when we talk about the principal schools, these are schools where we have, these are the schools which are in charge of training the satellite schools. And I want to take an example like in Kenya. One of the examples of principal schools is the Machakos School, where you find there is Machakos School, but Machakos School is connected with several other schools, around 7 schools. One could be in Laikipia, another one could be in Nakuru, another one could be in Turkana, another one could be in Lamu. And that is one of the monitoring that we were doing last month to look at, is this thing working? And it is very much working, where you find a principal school connects with several other satellite schools, and lessons are, and one teacher, let's say for example, a physics teacher in that principal schools teaches several other schools, which are referred to as the satellite schools, which are normally schools which are in understaffed or remote areas. Remote areas in Kenya, like places like Turkana, Lamu, and so forth. The goal being to bridge the teacher gap and ensure learners in underserviced areas or learners in understaffed areas received quality education. So what happens is that we have virtual teachers and shared lessons. And one thing I want to say is that the program has been a great success because it has led to improved access. Satellite schools now, they are able to access lessons from qualified teachers, from qualified they are able to access the lessons from qualified teachers and the structured lessons. It has also improved learning in that it has helped to reduce that kind of disparity which exists between urban areas, schools in places like Nairobi, and rural areas like in places like Turkana. And it has also led to digital exposure, because you realize that those satellite schools, they are provided by the government with video cameras, they are provided with projectors, they are given laptops to be able to carry out this. It is a program that has been run in a few schools, but then it is going to be extended. It is going to be extended. The government intends to extend it to many other schools so that it reaches most other parts of Kenya, and so that the issue of challenge of teachers becomes, very soon it may become a thing of the past. However, this is not to say the program has been very smooth. It has been marred with a number of challenges. One being technology infrastructure. You realize some of these schools, there is a very big problem of network. Like there are places we are going in Turkana now, and then you find there is completely no network. So this one brings about inconsistencies. You'll also realize some schools are lacking this infrastructure, like these devices like the projectors, the backup power solutions, and so forth. And then I also realized there are also pedagogical limitations where you find teachers, they have challenges of delivering this. And of course, the teacher preparedness, where you realize that teachers have not had that hands-on practice. I remember there is one time we were doing the monitoring of the same, and we got into the classroom, and it was very unfortunate that even as we were doing the monitoring, the thing literally failed. That shows you that the level of teacher preparedness and that understanding of the entire process is not there. So that is what live streaming is all about, where you find a teacher now, one teacher from a principal school is able to reach out to so many other schools, and that helps to solve one teacher shortage. And in the context of the competence-based curriculum, where you find that there are new subjects which are coming on board. Like if you look at Kenya, like in the senior school, we are going to be having indigenous languages. We are going to be having subjects like Mandarin. We are going to be having subjects like media technology. If there is only one teacher who can be able to do that, for example, in a whole county like Kajiado, then that teacher can be able to teach all schools in Kajiado County that are taking media technology. So this is a very good program. It's a very good program that the Teacher Service Commission is undertaking through KPIL and SECIP. So I want to believe Enos, that is well understood.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Felix. That is so much heartwarming to hear. Because when we were coming into this conversation, when we look at the assessment of the different, like I said, this is the third part series where we looked at challenges and opportunities for Southern African schools, Western African schools, and East African schools. And we found out, or we are coming to realize, that we have those cross-cutting themes, things like technology, shortage of teachers, and now this is the first conversation where we're actually now getting to see what the government and the different schools, especially public schools, are doing to overcome that challenge. And it's more or less kill two birds with one stone, if I'm not wrong, where we are having a shortage of teachers and integration of technology. Now, as well as we are looking at resource gaps, and now I'm reading out of what Gona Kazungu had put as a part of the challenges that we are having. And he had said, especially public ones, they struggle with insufficient learning materials, large class sizes, and limited infrastructure. Now, Mr. Felix, you did mention this a while back when you were giving the example of Turkana, and you were talking about a school that has 5 teachers and 1,800 students. I heard that right?
Yeah.
That is a ratio of 1 to, oh my. I'm still trying. So now I'm still trying to do the but then I'm like, when it comes to such, and I know now you've talked about the program for KPLAY and SEQUIP. Sorry about that. Maybe you can help us put it into perspective. Now, like that one, you've talked about a satellite school. Now, that one is going to be more or less equipped more. And then now, I mean, the primary school, or the, what did you call it? The main school. The primary
The principal school.
principal school. So now, maybe you can help us break this down as one among the solutions that Kenya is coming up with. When it comes to resource gap, how is this program that is being run? Teachers are involved, so we have at least ticked that box, and now the infrastructure, which again is a challenge. But now this program seems to bring about a solution to that. Maybe you can help us look at how exactly would we really restructure it so that as African countries, like I said, these are coming out as challenges for African countries, that if we have a working model, we can in one way or the other incorporate it for those ones that are having similar challenges.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Grace. And one thing I want to say is that the program is working in Kenya. The program is working in Kenya because those teachers who are involved in the program, they are normally retooled and upskilled. Like I remember over the April holiday, we spent a whole week in Mombasa. I was one of the trainers. We were training them on how to do the live streaming and how to incorporate lab exchange, where lab exchange is a virtual simulation of how you can be able to, how the teachers can be able to undertake practical subjects like chemistry, physics, biology, computer science, how they can be able to have a virtual simulation of the same using the virtual lab. And in this case, we were using Lab Exchange. So Lab Exchange is one of the Microsoft partners, Microsoft partners, which is one of the applications which is free for MIE experts and showcase schools. Now, this program is working in Kenya, the live streaming of lessons. Although it is working on a few number of schools, a few number of principal and the satellite schools, not the entire country. It is working for a sample of schools. And this is what I mean. If you take, for example, the over 100, I think there were over 100 and we have over 180 schools, satellite schools. And all these schools are provided by the government, one, with the video cameras, so that they can be able to take video, capture as the lessons is being done. Two, all those schools are also provided with projectors. Three, they are provided with laptops. They are also provided with hard disks. These schools are also provided with, I realize they also have network connectivity. They also have network, and most of those schools, they also have power connectivity. So in most of these schools, with the satellite, I must say with the satellite and principal schools, learning is going on. Although in this particular kind of schools, it was not rolled, in Kenya, it has not been rolled for all the lessons because it is still on the pilot process. But the classroom that we have been doing it, that is in Form 2, it has been working perfectly. It has been working perfectly. It is something we did monitoring and we realized it is working very well. In the African context, this can work very well if we if schools are provided, one, with the technical know-how, because it begins with the technical know-hows. One, schools have to understand the basics of how live streaming of lessons is done. They have to get to know all the basics on Microsoft Teams. They understand about the Microsoft Copilot. They understand about Lab Exchange and the entire process of the connectivity. And then two, the other thing that the schools will need to, the institutions will need to do now is to come up with the infrastructure, which is very easy. Why? Because most of the schools, they just require laptops. They will also require a projector. They will also require, they mostly require the projector, the laptop, and video cameras. I realized in most of schools in Nairobi, in Kenya, where I've been leading most of the trainings, they have, the schools have, even the public schools, they have a very good infrastructure. I was looking at a school like Nairobi Primary, where you find, there's a school where you get into some of, and you realize they even have several smart screens, and even other schools in Nairobi, you also realize they even have the interactive display board, which allows them even to be able to carry out the lessons very, very easily. So it is something that can work, and it is something that can help most of the African countries to be able to bridge that gap that exists in that teacher shortage gap, which has always been there, and that has remained for quite a long time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix. And sorry, I know we are ambushing you, and we have now relooked at how this sustainable education and sustainable schools in Africa, and now we are really spotlighting in Kenya. And again, we are just responding to something. And you have said now having the program that is being run in Kenya. And now I'm looking at assessment, because now that's where our data comes in. That's where we are going to get now this percentage that we are saying when it comes to our students or our learners, 65% actually lack basic foundational numeracy and literacy. And now we get that data from assessment. So now I'm like, there is this comment that Mr. Gona allowed me to combine with that one, where he said complex assessment. So now his explanation was continuous assessments are time consuming and sometimes confusing for both teachers and parents. And now I'm looking at also in terms of content, the assessment for the child is going to be different, though I have seen when it comes to assessment for CBE, for the learner, it's pretty much well defined in terms of the skills, the values, the competencies. And now the question becomes, when it comes to now assessment and us collecting data, having such ICT integration, and now that you're talking about a program where we have one school feeding or supplying to around 6 schools, how do you see that reshaping assessment? And how will it help us really look at Vision 2030 and actually actualize it? And I can see again, Mr. Gona mentioned that he remembers one day where a projector failed and the CSO was there for monitoring live streaming. So now I'm seeing also there's that technological challenges. And we have to get this data, Mr. Felix. How do we go about it?
Yeah, so thank you so much. So let me say something about assessment and the remote learning, assessment and the remote learning methodologies. These are two terminologies that I'll keep on using: the remote learning methodologies and live streaming. Whereby the remote learning methodologies is under the KPIL, and then the live streaming of lessons, it is actually under the sponsorship of SEKIP. So let me talk about assessment in the online platform. So one thing that is coming out of, very clearly in Kenya in terms of assessment is that first and foremost, we all know that we have the 3 sets of assessment: assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. And all these 3 different types of assessment, they can actually be carried out even remotely. And I was just explaining to the teachers that we were training last time that this even makes it a little bit easier. One, in terms of assessment in Kenya, we are moving away from the assessment which was focusing so much on the summative assessment, where students had to go through the process of learning from lower grades all the way up to the higher grades, and then they are waiting for one exam that is supposed to determine their life, that is supposed to determine how their life is going to shape, whether they are going to become people of importance, or they are going to become people, or they are just going to get lost in between there. So one, I must say that with the competence-based assessment, it is a good one, because now we are having many assessments that are coming in between, that is the formative assessment, and which ultimately brings in or it contributes to the total sum that is going to be there at the end. Like, you realize the students who are supposed to be doing their exams this year, we have the junior secondary students who are in grade 9 who are supposed to be doing an exam. And part of the marks that, part of the exam that they are going to be sitting for at the end of the year, they are only going to be sitting for an exam which is going to count for 60%. The rest of the other marks, they have been catered for before. So that is with the competence-based education, unlike previously where we used to have the 844 system where the student will just wait for an exam and it determines everything about the student. The other one is about what is being examined. While previously we were talking about examining content, how much content the student knows, which was, of course, leading to memorization of facts and so many other things. Here we are looking at what competencies has the learner achieved throughout the process of learning? What competencies has this particular learner achieved? And one thing which I'm really emphasizing on is that all this particular kind of assessment, they can be done, they can actually be done remotely. And there are many applications where the teacher can be able to do this. Unlike previously, where you realize exams have to be done, and then the teachers have to meet somewhere, they go through the marking scheme. Some are tired, some are not. You find there is a lot of disparities, but with the online kind of assessment, which we can be able to adopt, which involves the use of applications like Kahoot. We also have use of applications like Microsoft Forms, use of applications like quizzes, use of applications like Microsoft Teams assessment. These are kinds of assessment where the learner will be able to do it and they are able to get feedback immediately. They are able to get feedback immediately. So you see, one thing that is going to be a game changer for our education, especially in Africa, is going to be the integration of technology. And we are not only going to be integrating technology in our teaching and learning, but we should also look at possible ways in which we can be able to integrate the assessment bit in the learning process, because that makes it so much friendly, and then the feedback is also immediate. It is immediate, and the students are also able to reflect on they are also able to reflect on the outcome of the assessment. Thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you so much. We are having an issue with Mr. Top, I think connectivity, and now that applies to Africa as well. Connectivity in Africa is becoming quite a challenge. And I don't know, Tando, maybe I can throw this to you so that we can also have the participants also joining in this conversation. I know Mr. Felix will put you on the hot seat, so maybe I can give you a few minutes. Tando, please, you can come.
Thank you very much, Grace. And thank you, Mr. Felix. I am still shocked with the 1,000 learners on one teacher. I think I won't be able to breathe if I were to face that one. Because it's the whole school. It's literally the whole school in South Africa and more. Okay. I just came out to just say greetings also once again to our listeners and welcome to the dialogue. I hope you are enjoying it and you are listening, taking points. I can see that the chat is very, very active, and thank you very much for those contributions. I would like to invite you to make comments there. You give us your name and also the country where you are from, just down there in the chat again. And also, if you would like to come in and support what is being shared by Grace and also Mr. Felix, and just you can take the mic and then you can just say or just answer based on the country you are from and then we can compare, because we are all involved. It's not only the Eastern countries, but also Africa as a whole. So you can come in if you'd like to come and contribute. You are more than welcome to. And also down there on the charts, you can also write your name and also the country where you are from. And the other panelist, trying to reach them, the network is not it's not connecting. So I am sure, because also Mr. is trying to come in, he's in and out. So we're trying to fix that. That's yeah, that's all from me for now. I will come back again. Oh, also, if you could please kindly switch on your cameras, that would be very, very, very nice. We are all Africans here. Let's see each other. Yes, thank you, Maputi. Greetings. Yes. While Mr. Felix is getting some water to breathe, if we can just come in and also just introduce yourself, everyone, and tell us where you are from. Mamputi, you can start because you have already waved us. But wave us with your voice, if you don't mind. Just to say greetings. Ma'am, you are still muted.
The problem.
Greetings, ma'am. You see, network is on and off everywhere.
Oh, the problem when I switch on the video, the mic is off. So I'm Maputi
Okay.
from Mashupetladi Primary School at Seshego, Polokwane. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So
at
that's South
departmental head.
Africa.
Yeah, for MST, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. So we have another South African here coming to show support for the Eastern Dialogue. Mr. Gonna or Miss Gonna, if you could come and just say hi while we are on the break. Mr. Gonna, Miss Gonna, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm Gonna Kazungu, mathematics and physics teacher in a county in Kenya called Tana River. I'm a HOD academic, an ICT champion. I'm very happy to be here. Mr. Kamako is my mentor. We have been together in the live streaming. He's the one who has made me to start integrating technology in class. So though we have challenges, some teachers, they really drag in embracing technology. But I hope one day we will be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's actually what one of the missions with the summit, that we find solutions to the challenges that we have as countries, and then maybe we go and report to our leaders that we as teachers, for us to reach that higher level of education as Africans, we need this and that. And I can see that as we developing as countries, we need technology. And with technology, we need the network to be very, very flexible and be available for all the schools, even the ones that are in the rural areas. So thank you very much. And yes, Mr. Felix, you also brought a student here. Well done. Thank you. Let's have Mr. or Miss Admin. The only name I could read is admin. Hello? Can you hear me? To come and introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
Am I loud? Am I loud?
Hello?
Yes, are you getting me? Am I clear?
Yes, yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay,
Yes, sir,
I'm
you
Mr.
can go ahead.
Okay, I'm Mr. Peter Langat from Kenya, County of Nakuru. I'm a primary school teacher teaching mathematics, and I've been participating in live streaming of lessons where I have my mentors being Bwana Bushnell Peter from Nakuru County, also Bwana Kona Kasungu. He has assisted me a lot from Tana River. He is also my mentor. I have also Bwana Kamako Felix, also my mentor. I'm glad to be in this Zoom training. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you for honoring the invites from Mr. Felix. Like, hey, come this side. I'll be speaking. Come support me. It's very nice too. Like, you're speaking on the web with people you do not know, like me, meeting me for the first time. But it's very nice to see, familiar faces on the crowd, and it gives you courage. I know I'm also focused on Miss Maputo and Grace because I know them. And then let's have Mr. Luwilo. We're just introducing ourselves while we give Mr. Felix a break, and then we will continue in very, very short time. Grace,
Okay.
Mr. Lu, is it Miss Lu?
Luwilo,
or
Mr.
Mr.
Luwilo. My name is Luwilo Sanga, mathematics
thank
teacher
you.
educator from Tanzania, teaching at the Morogoro Teachers College. Of course, I'm passionate about technology, integrating technology in math teaching. That's why I said I have to attend this dialogue and learn from colleagues in East Africa and the other countries. Thank you so much for the
Thank you very much.
dialogue. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Luwilo. We were to have Dr. Hamis Juma from Tanzania to come and represent the country. So if you don't mind, while Grace is active with Mr. Felix, you can just come in and just share what is happening in Tanzania and give us a picture and just highlight us where you can. So you can just raise your hand and then Grace will just call you up and say, you can take a mic. Okay, so don't be shy. Okay, well, the last one I think is TJ. TJ? TJ, can you hear me? Is it TJ? Hello? Okay, can't hear me.
Hello, hello, I'm hearing you.
Thank you.
My name is James Mbati.
We're just
from
introducing
Kenya.
ourselves.
Yeah, my name is James Mbati. I'm from Kenya. I'm an high school teacher. And also I love to learn more about this topic that you have brought here. So that is why I decided to join here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. We have another Kenya representative. I think it's also under your mentorship, Mr. Felix. Miss Winnie, can you hear me? Miss Winnie? We are just introducing ourselves, our name and country we're representing, or we're from, and what we do. You can take the mic.
Hello, I'm Winnie from Kenya. I'm a high school teacher, passionate about education, especially in this era. That is what I'm doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Grace, would you like to continue? Have you got a break? The teacher teachers will be coming up to join the conversation as it goes. Miss Grace?
Yes, hello,
Miss
Tando.
Grace?
Yes, how are you? You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh,
We have done the rounds and we'll come back in again. And the teachers are aware now that they can come up and contribute and take the mic. Thank you.
thank you so much. And Mr. Felix, now we are back, and I want us to look at a challenge that you mentioned, and I can see even Mr. Gona also mentioned it. So again, it's a cross-cutting one when it comes to parental involvement. I don't know if you belong to the school of thought where we were told that education has three stones. That thing really tortured me back in high school, where I was told having the pot of education, one stone is the parent, the other stone is the teacher, and then I don't know. Tando, did you have that one in South Africa, where you're told it has to balance on the three stones when you're cooking it? And now the stone that I really want us to focus on is the parent, because in one way or the other, the parent has to be involved when it comes to educating their child. I can see in the chat, Mr. Ngona said, not all parents have the time, the knowledge, and resources to support CBC activities at home. And you also mentioned when it comes to parents and their involvement when it comes to education, it's also important. When we are looking at sustainable schools and sustainable education, especially in an African context, how should we engage our parents just to ensure that we really are achieving our objectives? I don't know if you've gotten me clearly.
Yes, is it directed to me?
Yes, because I know it's all involved in the whole education, and you mentioned it as we were introducing this topic.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I think the first thing I need to mention is in the competence-based education, the role of the parent is very, very key. Initially, in the 844 system, the parent played a very passive role. But if you look at currently, with the CBC, the parent is involved in greatly, because right now you find that a student will come at home and then the child will ask you some questions. They will tell you the teacher said you assist me here and here and here. So currently, parents are expected to monitor and guide learners in completing CBC, competence-based education tasks. I think that is something that is coming out very, very clearly with the competence-based curriculum. And then another way the parent is coming in is while we are talking about competences with the competence-based curriculum, the parent is supposed to come in the competences to reinforce the competences and the values. And of course, some of the competences and values, some of the competences, the parent is probably required to reinforce our competences like communication and collaboration, things to do with the self-efficacy, things to do with citizenship and so forth. So we also have values that the parent is supposed to inculcate to the child, values like values to do with values that have to do with responsibility, collaboration, creativity, and so forth. So you see the role of the parent comes in handy in reinforcement of the values and competences. And then there is also a lot that is expected of the parent as far as feedback and the collaboration with the school is concerned, because of course the parent is a key partner in the school setting. So the parent is expected to provide feedback on the way the sessions are and so forth. And also we are also having provision of resources. if there is one program that is turning out to be very, very costly, it is a competence-based education. Unlike and in the previous one, where there are very, very few resources, you only required a book, a pen, and pencil, and a few other items. Currently, with the current competence-based education, you realize there are so many resources. The child will come at home and they will tell you, we have been asked for this one, we've been asked for this one. The other day, my daughter was telling me, we have been told to go with laptops. The next time you are told, they come again and tell me, Dad, we have been told we need to go with lab coats and so many other items, even the gloves and the others. So you realize the parent role is very key in the provision of these learning resources and providing the right learning environment. And also the parents in the competence-based education is supposed to provide close monitoring of the learner portfolios. Of course, we have the portfolios, but then all said and done, you realize there are so many challenges. Like I was going to Turkana, and what I was being told is that majority of the parents, they are either illiterates or semi-illiterates. And that becomes a very big, and in how now they come in the school, because when we talk about illiteracy, and then one of the ways we need to bring them on board is so that they can be able to support the programs, and they are illiterate. You see, there is a kind of barrier. Then the other thing is also you realize most of the parents, they have low literacy skills and ICT skills. Some of them, they don't even know when you talk about a computer is supposed to be used for this and this and this and this. Some of them, they are not even, they don't even understand what you are telling them. And you also realize that there is also the financial constraints. Like most of the places where we come from, like the county where I come from, most of the parents, you realize there is that challenge of finances. And then they are coming in sometimes become quite a challenge. So the role of the parent is very, very key. And there are different ways the parent is supposed to be involved in the learning process, but then you realize all said and done, there are still so many challenges that we are faced with as we work towards bringing them on board in the learning process. So I think that is what I had to share. Maybe I have I can also see I have my colleagues here, and I'm so much excited to have them. I'm so much excited that they had to join. Peter Langat, Kazungu, and Winnie. Maybe if they have something they need to add, probably they can also add, with your permission, Grace.
Yes. Let me ask one final question and then I will hand over the mic and they will also get to chime in. And my last question has to do with access.
Yes.
Access, especially when it comes to underserved areas now. And I'm loving the fact that you have had quite an extensive of that. And if there's one thing we will agree on, especially when it comes to Kenya, when it comes to connectivity, we've had various strides being done to ensure that connectivity, we had the project that was called Last Mile program, where we really had connectivity being brought about to the remotest of areas. And now this one comes in for those underserved. And now I guess allow me to link it up with what Mr. Gona as well mentioned, equity. So learners from low income backgrounds may be disadvantaged due to unequal access to digital tools and learning support. So now, when we come to technology, I know there is this view of technology being only integration and ICT tools. But in all honesty, technology has come quite some strides, right? Because when you look at the different ways in which technologies have evolved. We came from tools and manufacturing, so where we came from stones and then through the wheel, and then now we came to metal, up until mechanical, so that we can do assembly. And then in somewhere there, that's when ICT came in for us to even have 3D printing and CNC machine that is really cutting out and using the computer. But then I know technology is not only ICT. Innovation happens in our different areas. Can you maybe, as you're answering this question, give us a contextual based sort of a way you've seen where it's not only them integrating ICT, but they've also used the tools around them to ensure that learning is for all and education gets to those ones who are underserved?
Yes, please.
I'm looking at you answering when it comes to serving or having those ones who are in the most of remotest areas, learners coming from low backgrounds or low income backgrounds. There is that challenge where they might be disadvantaged due to unequal access. But we want to borrow from your experience in working in areas like Turkana and the remote different places that you have visited. How is technology, and now I'm not limiting technology to ICT only, how have they really used technology to ensure that education is for all?
Yeah, so thank you so much. If I'm to respond to this question in terms of innovation, you are talking about innovation beyond the use of ICT. Is that the case? Hello, Grace?
Yes, technology beyond that.
Beyond the use of innovation in arid areas. Personally, I've said I've had the opportunity of interacting with different counties, and one of the things that we were doing is we were doing monitoring of how technologies being integrated. And one of the ways I've been able to see that has been used as a form of innovation is schools using solar-powered, using solar power, solar energy to be able to power on their classrooms. You find there's one school that, one of those schools I was mentioning, which had so many students, they were making use of the solar energy to power their classrooms, to charge their devices, and also to, and this one in a way, I also realized it is not only the school that were making use of this kind of energy, even the communities. It was serving as a community center for actually education, where you find even others are coming there to be able to also learn. And I also realized there is also the essence of the use of radios and community broadcasts. That can also be done. It has been done in Kenya, and I think it was done. It worked out very well, especially during the time of COVID. Educational, where we had educational radio programs, which were being used to deliver lessons. Even some of them, even even in local languages, like in our case, Kiswahili. And these community radio stations, of course, how it can be used as a form of innovation is that even in our communities, because of course now we are making use of indigenous language. There are lessons which are coming in like indigenous language. So these community radio stations, of course, they can be used to host interactive sessions, also provide sessions like storytelling, and they can also be used as a form to provide revision programs. And so you see that one goes well, that could be a form of innovation that can help. That can also be that can also help. And then we also have let me look which other. We can also be able to make use of local resources. We can actually be able to make use of local resources for practical learning. And when I talk about use of local resources, think about in a place like Nairobi. In a place like Nairobi, students are told to go and come with the modeling clay, the plasticine. But in a place like Turkana, where I was, such kind of things like plasticine, they might not be there. So in this case, we can be able to make use of local materials like use of clay, use of wood, use of plants, and so forth. Of course, to be able to do science-related activities, art, and life skill lessons. And this one, I've also been able to see it working out very practically in the Maasai land, where you find them even making use of local materials to come up with ornamental ornaments and so forth. So we can actually have that, and then there can also be this kind of school community partnership. That is something I was trying to discuss it with some of people I was with. At the time I had attended one of the trainings of the competence-based curriculum, where I was asking them, come next year in the senior school, we are not going to be, most of the schools, they don't have workshop, they don't have electricity rooms and so forth. And then I was asking them, how can we have a form of innovation which can also be able to ensure that schools are learning this particular program, because they are there in the curriculum and they have to be taught. And one of the suggestions I was giving is that we can be able to make use of, we can be able to engage the local artisans. We can also be able to engage the local farmers. We can be able to engage the local professionals like electricians, to be able to mentor learners in practical skills. Of course, this is going to help to strengthen the link that exists between education and livelihood. That question was a little bit technical. You have really made me to think a lot, Grace. I must admit, you have really given me a very hard time to think. That question was it caught me unawares. So back to you. Hello, Grace. So, Grace?
Okay, Grace. Okay, Mr. Felix, we are going to cut we're going to end it here, and it's been very, very lovely to have you here, and everything was very full detailed, what you shared, and thank you very much for your time. I don't know, would you like to have some final remarks?
Yeah,
Mr.
so
Felix?
thank you so much. Hello? Yeah, so I really want to appreciate the organizers of this session for bringing us together, for bringing Africa together, so that we can be able to brainstorm on some of the challenges that are facing our education systems, to be able to look at how we can be able to address common challenges that are there, and also to be able to forge the way forward on what exactly we need to do. Because I believe it is time for Africa. It is time that Africa stands on its own, and I'm not saying that out of anything bad, but I want to say that it's time for Africa. And that is why personally, I've also been running programs for Africa with some other educators from across Africa. I think I've been connecting with Puti Ragofala, where Ndado comes from, and I've also been connecting with Eric. I've been connecting with another lady by the name Okudu Cynthia, and so many of my other colleagues in South Africa. I've also been connecting with the educators from Tanzania, from Rwanda, because I believe these are the countries which have the challenges that we have in Kenya. When I connect with countries in Sweden, in Australia, in Singapore, in Malaysia, our challenges are quite different. The other time I connected my class with a class in Taiwan, because I was able to do that through the Global Learning Microsoft Connect. And the students were even wondering if these are students or if we are actually in the same world, because while students in Taiwan, they are making use of electronic gadgets, they have very advanced technology, smart board on the walls and all these kind of technologies. My students are just there and they are just staring at them. And I felt this is just one of the injustice I did to them of connecting them to a school that is far much beyond their level. When I connect my students to a class in Singapore, and their class is busy doing robotics, coding, and I personally, my students don't even have the tools to be able to do this, then you see there is a lot of disparity. But the challenges that we face in Africa, across Africa, are more or less the same. That is why I always prefer we come together as teachers across Africa. We think about the solutions to the problems that we are facing in our class, because I believe in Africa we are facing our own unique challenges. We are facing our own unique, and we have our own unique solutions to the challenges that we are facing. Otherwise, this is a very good move. I'm hoping that very soon, probably we are going to be having an on-site kind of get together, or a physical one, on-site or a physical one, so that we can be able to share more. Nevertheless, I'm still requesting that we continue to share, we continue to link up through the online platforms. Thank God that right now we have so many platforms that we can be able to engage more on. The Microsoft Teams, through Google Meet, we can be able to, through Zoom, we can be able to meet through so many of these applications. So thank you so much for inviting me. I know today I've spoken so much, and I've also been gotten unaware with so many questions coming from Grace. She really hit me hard with questions, but at least I want to thank God that He has been able to, He has enabled me to be able to sail through. On a very special note, I want to thank Grace, our host and moderator for the session, you for the wonderful moderation. I also want to thank Ndado, the co-host, for the insightful session that you provided for us. And I really want to thank my colleagues from Kenya, my dear friend Lowingo Sanga from Tanzania. Really looking forward to, I've also been collaborating with educators from Tanzania. The gentleman in charge of Teachers Junction. This platform, Teachers Junction, we have been thinking about how we can be able to link up and probably run a few programs in Tanzania and others in Kenya. So I really want to.
You are welcome. You're welcome, Kamako.
Yeah, thank you so much, Luilo, and I'm really looking forward probably to sharing more with you and seeing how we can be able to how we can be able to even share more and become better. Otherwise, that is all I had to say. Thank you so much, and back to you, Ndado. If I pronounce your name, if I do not pronounce your name well, you'll pardon me.
No, thank you very much. It is Dando. Thank you very much. It's really nice to listen, to educators who have experience for us teachers. So it's really, really wonderful. We're taking notes, and we're also taking notes on where to improve and communicate, with our leaders, what to take. So I'm really grateful. And Miss Technogranny, we call her Technogranny. She's my mentor. Yeah, she was teaching me coding robotics last year, and she really connected me. And she's the one who suggested I take the MCE certificates, the Microsoft certificates. And yeah, I'm always in touch with her. I will pass the greetings to her that you acknowledged her in her absentia. Thank you very much for joining us in this dialogue. It was wonderful. Thank you. May God bless you, Mr. Felix. With all the work that you do, may everything be provided and you grow, and all the resources that you need, and the learners saw the light that is in you, and then they take it and it shines on them also. And thank you very much, listeners, also for joining us and taking this time. Please do register for the summit. It's on September. So you are more than welcome to join. And also we still have the Central Dialogue and also the Northern Dialogue countries. So we'll be in touch, and yeah, and I think if you don't have, if you're not in the groups, you can connect with Mr. Felix, who connects with Miss Grace, and then you can also get the links to the other dialogues. If you would like to listen to this one, we have YouTube channel, and that's where we're going to post it. Otherwise, enjoy your lovely weekend and the rest of the day. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Bye, Grace.
Goodbye.
Bye, Mr. Felix.
Bye,
Yeah.
bye, bye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Bye,
Okay.
admin.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.